We think we know all there is to know about this drone situation, but the truth is we actually don't know anything.
This is the emergency broadcast system. This is not a test. Repeat, this is not a test. Stay tuned for further instructions.
All personnel, report to the nearest tornado shelter.
No cop! No KKK! No fascist USA! No cop!
If we ain't here for this, ain't nothing. This is not a valid protest, man.
I'm going to tell you the real deal. Iran launched a mothership probably about a month ago that contains these drones. That mothership is off, I'm going to tell you the deal. It's off the east coast of the United States of America. They've launched drones, is everything that we can see or hear. And again, these are from high sources. I don't say this lightly. Now, we know there was a probability it could have been our own government. We know it's not our own government because they would have let us know. It could have been some really glorified hobbyists that were doing something unbelievable. They don't have the technology. But let's pretend that's possible. The third possibility was somebody, an adversarial country, doing this. Know that Iran made a deal with China to purchase drones, motherships, and technology in order to go forward. The sources I have are good. They can't reveal who they are because they are speaking to me in confidentiality. These drones should be shot down. Whether it was some crazy hobbyist that we can't imagine, or whether it is Iran, and I think it very possibly could be, they should be shot down. We are not getting the full deal, and the military is on alert with this.
Sí. This video because I have figured out what the drone situation is. I was in the Army, active duty. I worked on drones. I was a maintenance NCO for some surveillance drones. And before that, I worked on the Apache, the Kiowa. I know aviation. So what people are not noticing is that you have two separate types of drones and two separate types of things in the air right now. First off, the drones that you see with flight lights or anti-collision lights or the things that the FAA requires, those are drones that are probably operated by the United States government. Now, the orbs that you've been seeing on the internet, that is the reason why all those drones are up there. And that is also why the government isn't telling you what's going on. And that's because the drones that you see that look like regular aircraft, those drones are up there to get some information on the actual orbs, which are actually the UFO.
We are getting closer to learning more about what these drones are and where they've come from. New photos were captured last night. Someone got a still camera that had good low light nighttime shooting capability with a long lens and captured amazing images of one of these drones. And he got a really good close-up. I'm going to show you these right now. So take a look at these. This doesn't look like anything I've seen. Doesn't look like the airplane type drones. This is something else. This looks like definitely something military. I don't know if it's ours. I don't think it is. It looks like something that's used for surveillance, possibly. It's definitely got some tech on it. But look at this close-up. Look at this close-up here. What is this? What is this right here? See that? Is that writing? What is that? It looks like writing, but it doesn't look like English. That looks like possibly Arabic. I'm not sure. I'm no language expert, so I can't tell what that is.
Shockingly said this week, we haven't seen anything unusual. We know of no threat, close quote. What The massive invasion of drones observed and recorded by so many of our citizens, including and especially law enforcement and military personnel, many who are here. Is it unusual? Is he kidding? How does Secretary Mayorkas, who infamously told us for years that our southern border was secure and closed when we know it's not, and now insult our intelligence that we haven't seen anything unusual? This is usual? I don't think so. And how can he and others, like National Security Spokesman Admiral John Kirby, say we know there's no threat? How do they know that? What are they revealing? Or are they just saying it? How can anyone speculate or issue assurances to thousands, millions of Americans who have witnessed, thousands who have witnessed the drones, that there is no threat? For weeks, we've asked for the truth and action to mitigate any and all threats to people and property. Now, we are demanding it. As the sightings increase, including by service members at Naval Weapons Station Earl, and I did talk to the commander there, his men are seeing it right there at the base. Are you kidding me? A munitions depot of that caliber, and these drones are hovering in close proximity to it. The Coast Guard told me the other day, and Sheriff Mastronardi, that one of its 47-foot rescue boats was followed in very close proximity off its stern by numerous drones. Why can't we bag at least one of these drones and get to the bottom of it? Why can't we even track them? I asked Secretary Mayorkas at a briefing, a Zoom briefing, why we can't follow them, find out where they're going. They're coming from somewhere. Okay, you can't seem to do that. Why can't we follow them and find what their origin is? Many of them seem to be coming from the ocean. I was with Sheriff Mastronardi the other day on the beach, and we saw a video, and we talked to one of his deputies talk about how she had seen 50 of them coming from the ocean to mainland. Is there something out there? We don't have the capability to do that. We don't have control over our airspace. And just remember, ladies and gentlemen, the feckless response to the Chinese Communist Party's spy balloon. When that thing traversed America and went over one very sensitive base, including the B-2 bombers base, after another. We did nothing except say, oh, it's a spy balloon. Or is it? Or is it a weather balloon? I still can't get over that one. The elusive maneuvering of these drones, I would suggest a major military power sophistication that begs the question whether they have been deployed to test our defense capabilities, or worse, by violent dictatorships, perhaps maybe Russia or China or Iran or North Korea. I mean, they have the capability, and they certainly have the motive. The Pentagon.
I walked out because it was worthless. It was the biggest amateur hour presentation I've ever seen about anything. Okay, it was ridiculous. There were no answers. Every question that was asked by a member of the state legislature, great questions, no answers, no resolution. They don't know where the drones are coming from. They don't know who's doing it. They don't know why they're doing it. But they say there's no credible threat. It was annoying to be there. I drove 2 hours to be here today. Spent an hour in there. I got to drive 2 hours back. The biggest waste of 5 hours in my entire life.
So why do you think they called this meeting?
No idea. Why would you call a meeting to tell people you don't know anything? I have no idea. And then when the legislators would ask questions, there were no answers. Here's the most frustrating part. The colonel of state police said that he had a helicopter of his flying over above one of these drones, a 6-foot drone or something. I can't remember exactly what he said. And he felt unsafe for his helicopter, so he just let it go. Just let it go. Where'd it go? Who knows? Didn't want to follow it because you didn't feel safe. Is that not the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard? I mean, honestly.
Do they have any idea where these drones are originating?
No, they don't. They would. Maybe if they followed that sucker to when it landed, they would know. But they don't. This is a complete lack of effort, in my opinion, on trying to figure this out. This is not about ability. We have the technology. We have the people. We have the training. We have the resources. We have the money. It's just a lack of effort. I mean,
why?
I don't know. They should be saying, you know what they should have done today with productive use of our time, if they didn't know anything? Come in there and say, hey, legislators, we don't know anything. But if you get us these 10 things, do these 10 things for us, and the governor calls in this kind of action, we can figure it out. Will you help us? And then we would have helped them. But instead it was just excuse after excuse and we know nothing. It was infuriating, and I got up and I walked out.
You've been in the service, right?
Yeah, I was an attack helicopter pilot, Apache helicopter pilot in the Army, and I helped stand up the initial unmanned aircraft training battalion in the aviation sector of the Army. So I know a little bit about what I'm talking about, and these guys are not doing the job they need to do to figure out what's going on, and that is the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and the state police.
And they're saying no threat to Americans.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it come from. They don't know nothing. When I walked in here today, I was actually pretty calm. I was excited to be here to find out a couple things. I thought they'd be like, hey, listen, it's FedEx, trying to figure it out. But instead I got the most ridiculous amateur hour briefing I've ever sat through.
As many of you know, state and local law enforcement is precluded by law from taking more decisive action, which is why DOD must. They are the ones who have the ability and the authority to act. Congress, yes, and the president, yes, need to move quickly to expand state and local authorities, powers. But DOD has it right now. Sheriff Golden wrote me a few days ago requesting legislation to empower the state police to seriously protect at-risk persons and infrastructure, and if necessary, bring down a dangerous drone or drones. I am now drafting that bill and will soon introduce it. I want to thank him for that idea.
Hello warriors, welcome back to God's Prepared Warrior channel, and I am excited that you guys are here today. Welcome to Monday morning, and we're talking about the drones. I know you're probably all droned out, but I have to talk about the drone. I know everybody's talking about the drones. Everybody's been asking me over here, you know, Fernando, what's your take on the drones? And so I'm gonna share something today that I found pretty interesting, and I don't think anybody's hearing or talking about it. So let's look at this here real quick. So look what I found for you, and we're gonna look at this and then we're gonna talk about it, and then we're gonna kind of dissect it. So as you can see here, this is the reference guide that was given in June of 2024 to the Major Cities Chiefs Association. And so from what I understand, that major cities in the United States, chiefs that are a part of this organization or association, they gathered together, and so they've put together a reference guide for unidentified abnormalous phenomena, which are UAPs. And so this section here that I want to show you here talks about this, and it says UAP in the news. It says spy balloons, drones, and advanced UAP pose a clear and present danger. That was from The Hill, printed from The Hill on March 5th, 2024. And it says unidentified objects in defended airspace represent a domain awareness gap. This gap possesses a clear and present danger to pilots and our soldiers that is more acute than ever. Whereas the Chinese spy balloon was visible to civilians from the ground, the three other objects shot down by American fighters over Alaska, Canada, and Michigan in the following weekend were only detected after the North American Aerospace Defense Command removed Cold War era filters from its radar. Previously, filters excluded anything too small, too high, too slow, or too fast to be Soviet bomber or ballistic missile. Now, what does all of that mean? It goes on to say that this is not the first time that upgrades to our sensor capabilities revealed unidentified phenomena
in our skies. In 2014, when I served, the author of this guide in the U.S. Navy says, my FA-18 squadron and I were operating in military training range off the coast of Virginia and began witnessing unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP, on radar and infrared after the generational upgrade to our systems. My squadron then started seeing them with their own eyes, including a dramatic near miss. So it looks like to me that all of this has been when you read this, it's crazy because it sounds like they've been there all along until all of these upgrades were given in their aircraft. And so have these UAPs, have these drones been in the air since 2014? And what do we know? Because it sounds like it continued until the balloon that we all, well, those that saw the balloon, right? I mean, we saw it on the news, but those that saw the balloon from the ground, have these things been in existence since then? And we just didn't know until now. All of our pilots' systems in their planes have been upgraded. Here's what I think is happening, because I will be honest, if there was a mothership docked somewhere on the East Coast, I would imagine that we would have blown that ship up to smithereens. That's thought number one. Thought number two is, well, our current administration is really soft and they're not going to do anything, and they probably wouldn't have blown it up, and the ship probably would have left and been long gone with all their drones and all that kind of stuff. That's thought number two. Thought number three is, and I think this is what it is, that all of the drones that have been seen belong to us, and they have a specific mission. And there is intelligence that we do not know, and obviously the powers that be do not know, because something we don't know is happening in the background. And so that's what I think. There is a lot of talk and speculation that there are missing nuclear weapons that have been brought to the United States. So that's why they're sniffing around, right? Because we actually use drones to look for nuclear weapons, for things of that nature. And so they're low to the ground because it would be on the ground, whether in a transport vehicle, whether in storage somewhere, or in somebody's garage. I don't know, I'm just speculating. But I totally believe that these drones belong here and are being occupied here in the US because of things that we do not know. Think about it. Why else would they say that, well, we don't know what they are, or they're not ours, because they haven't been told anything yet? So what is the real truth? I don't know. But what I can tell you is that we have to be vigilant and we have to be prepared. It is the underlying thing for all of us as preppers, all of us moving into the preparedness community, all of you guys who have been prepping for the longest time, is to be ready. Am I telling you to take your boomstick and hang out outside? And no, I am not telling you that. What I am telling you is that all of those things should be at the ready in the event anything happens, and because you want to protect yourself and protect your family. So just be vigilant. This is why I'm so adamant about all of us having a sense of vigilance in our life, right? It's that situational awareness that you'll hear all preppers talk about. It's about knowing what's happening, not walking anywhere without knowing or without seeing, stuck with your phone in your hand, and that's all you can see. No, there has to be an awareness about you of what's happening in the background. And everyone should be ready at a moment's notice, because we never know if this is ours or it's not, right? I think somebody came out and said that there was a mothership where all these drones came from. People were saying that the drones were coming out of the water. And I don't know. You have to take those things with a grain of salt, and you yourself has to be vigilant to what is happening, because if there are drones in your area and you're not paying attention, you're probably not going to see them. So it's so important for us as God's prepared warriors to stay vigilant to what is happening all around us. So I want to give you a response. So as God's prepared warriors, our response should be to all of this stuff, right? We should reflect as God's prepared warriors on our commitment to preparedness, our commitment to vigilance, our commitment to trust in God's guidance. And how do we do that, right? Well, I've always said before, we should stay informed, right? Knowledge is key. And I get it. I understand. They're saying a lot of things, right? We don't know. This is what we know. We don't know, right? Knowledge is key, and we have to be aware of, that these things are happening, because there's video footage of it. There's eyewitness accounts. So this is happening, but we have to be aware of, could this be a disaster that's coming, or is it something that our government is doing and we just don't know, right? So it's important to stay informed. It's important to go to sources that are credible, that are going to give you the truth and not just kind of pull things out of a hat, right? So you should monitor your local and national news that you trust, right? I always go to the source. I'll go to the Pentagon website. I'll go to Homeland Security website. And that's where I'll go, because they usually put the news there that doesn't come out in your local news. So that's where I go. So I trust those sources, because those are the boots on the ground. Those are the eyes in the air. And so if anything, they're going to post it on their website before it ever reaches the national or local news. So just look for, stay informed by sources that are credible, right? And just, be vigilant to what is happening around you. The other thing we should be doing as God's prepared warriors, we should protect ourselves, protect our property, right? These things could be flying around in your neighborhood, and you don't know what kind of data they're gathering, or what what they're looking for or what they're smelling for, as they say, right? So we should install lights in our homes, like outside our homes, because if these things fly low and they're trying to look into, your windows, lights can turn on and hopefully scare them away, or it allows light to shine on them that maybe somebody in your neighborhood is out and they see it, right? And so, I would install lights around my house. We need to learn, right? As God's prepared warriors, we need to learn, and know our legal rights regarding drones, and not just if we can fly them or not, but what are the rules if these things come onto our property, right? I don't advocate you just blowing it out of the sky, because we what if the drone belongs to your sheriff's department? So we got to be vigilant to those kinds of things. Another thing is we should build a community of awareness, right? So we should talk to our neighbors. We should kind of get together and kind of be watchmen, right? In our communities. We should share the information that we find with our neighbors, with our local organizations, about how to recognize and respond, right, to these suspicious drone activity. When we work together, we can be stronger, and we can actually take this information that I'm sharing with you, because it's a guide of how these police chiefs can share this with their policemen. And so if we can take this information and utilize it for ourselves within our community, that's how we can stay informed. We need to build a community of awareness. Another thing we should do is we should strengthen our faith, right? I'm always going to talk about this. We should strengthen our faith and our trust in God, right? In times of uncertainty, it's easy to be consumed with fear, but we have to remember that God doesn't even give us that spirit. He does not give us the spirit of fear, but he gives us power, love, and a sound mind, right? So we need to, as God's prepared warriors, trust in God as our ultimate protector, right? And use the wisdom that he provides to respond courageously. And we should pray for discernment, pray for safety, and we should pray for peace, not just for yourself, but also for your community and where you are. Lastly, I think that we should advocate for preparedness, right? In addition to being spiritually ready, I think we should ensure that we have a physical plan in place for unexpected situations that could involve these drones. Maybe it could be a situation where there's a power outage, things like that, disruptions with phone systems, things like that. We should build a communication network, and include drone related scenarios in our PACE plan, and educate our family on the steps of what we should be doing to take next, right, in that plan, in that PACE plan, as we plan out for preparedness. So, think about what is that plan that I need to include for this kind of disaster, right? We'll call it a disaster if drones take over, right? So put a plan together, right? A preparedness plan for you and your family. That is so important that you should be doing that. So drones, like any technology, can be used for good or for harm. And as God's prepared warriors, we must stay informed, we must protect our homes, and we must trust in God's strength for us, right? We need to be vigilant, but not fearful, right? We need to be prepared, but not paranoid. So let your faith guide you as you face new challenges with wisdom, right, from the Lord, with courage that comes from God, and with grace, right? Just as Joshua 1:9 says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Guys, God bless you. Thank you for watching the video today. I look forward to seeing you tonight as we have our live stream tonight at 9 p.m. Central, right here on God's Prepared Warrior. Hope to see you then. God bless. Hey guys, this is Fernando, God's Prepared Warrior. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel.